All right, hello creatives. I am back with another video, a special video today with a new friend. He is a printer, and this is something that comes up a lot in artist communities: how to make prints, how to get good quality prints. It is a huge issue. It is something that a lot of us want to have answered. Even early in my journey, I was confused about how to make prints, how to make good quality prints, and also, and we'll discuss this later. If you don't get good shots on the front end and then the original is sold, sometimes you are out of luck when it comes to your printmaking. And I know Derek will tell us more about that in just a second. But before we get into all of that, let me just introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, guys. We're live, but things happen. My eyes burning. So my name is Maisha Francis. I'm an artist. I'm a teacher. I'm a curator. And here recently, I have been developing my art coaching business. We can call it mentorship, accountability, whatever it is. But I see the need for artists to have that in their lives. So without further ado, I'm going to let Derek go ahead and introduce himself while I rub my eye again. Excuse me, y'all.
Yes. Thank you, Maisha. Thank you for having me as you speak with your friends and other creatives. Yeah, my name is Derek Hemphill. I'm with Art Space Prints, located in the Treme neighborhood. And we started this business
And that's New
because
Orleans, y'all. For those of you who don't know, sorry, Derek. That's Treme,
Treme is in New
New
Orleans. That's
Orleans.
absolutely correct. And we started this business for the exact reason that you have had some questions and challenges and getting your originals to print. So we offer fine art printing. We are more boutique oriented, where we are hands on. If we have an artist who has a deadline, or they have a festival that's coming up, we are more flexible than the traditional business. We're located at a place that's called Art Space. So all of the artists, all of the folks who live and work here are artists. In addition to fine arts printing, we offer commercial printing. So that's things like push cards, flyers, business cards, stickers, booklets. We can do up to 80, 90-page booklets in high vibrant color. So again, my name is Derek Kempill. I am a printer primarily. I am also a writer and a curator, just like yourself, Maisha. And so thank you for having me once again. It's great to be here.
No, this is good. So listen, y'all. Y'all kind of are getting a treat because me and Derek are just going to have a conversation because we ran into each other at a recent exhibition that my work is a part of, and he was like, "Hey, do you need some printing services?" And I'm like, "Yes," because I understand that when it comes to making prints, yes, you can take a picture on your phone, email it to yourself, get it printed. But it is a different thing when you have a professional to do it for you. All right. I've been doing this almost more than 15 years now. And the first time I started doing prints, Derek, the year before I had my art gallery, I was on Julia Street selling prints out of the back of my trunk during Essence. And I had just taken a picture with a camera that I had and made some prints at Kinko's, I think. But it was a little blurry. It wasn't blurry, but it wasn't as crisp
It
as
wasn't
good.
as high quality
It
as you
wasn't
would have
as high
liked.
quality. And what I
Okay.
found years later when I tried to get that print bigger, Derek would, if I try to send that print to you now, Derek, I'm sure you wouldn't print it because it's just not going to give me what I need because I didn't have a high enough quality. So tell us what we need to give you as far as a digital file, digital format, or what do you need to get a good print?
Well, you are absolutely correct, Maisha. It is very important to have a high resolution image. And I must commend you. That was very Master P like to be selling the prints out of the trunk of your car.
I was getting how I live.
But
Let me
that's
tell
cool.
you. Yeah, but
I mean,
people
that's
will.
cool. And that gets,
Mhm.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying that people will believe in you. The next year, I had a gallery on Julia Street because my parents saw that. Okay, she's serious.
Okay. Um, well, again, that high resolution is very important when you are moving to your clients becoming high-end collectors. And you, as an artist, you can multiply your work and also your efforts and increase your revenue streams. But you're also not compromising the quality of the piece of art that you are offering to your collectors. So this is what we call fine arts printing. The terminology would be a giclée, um, reproduction. When we see a giclée on paper, we just call it a fine arts print. If it's on canvas, we call it a giclée. Um, the first step that artists want to take, again, is to get that high resolution image. That image would need to either be 300 DPI or preferably 600 DPI. So if it's 600 DPI, it may even stretch depending on the size of the original painting or drawing or whatever the piece of visual art is. It may even stretch to the size of a billboard.
Now,
So,
for
and
me, I
once you,
understand that. Like, I understand DPI 600 DPI, but for those
Mhm.
artists who are new, don't get it, what does that mean? 300 DPI, 600 DPI?
Okay. Oh yeah, absolutely. DPI is dots per inch. So you have a graphic image. To give you an example to contrast, if you are looking at an image on the internet, whether that's social media or just someone texting you an image, typically it would be 72 DPI or 72 dots per inch, right? So when we're looking at duplicating something in print, just as you stated, it is going to come out blurry or what we call pixelated. So if it's pixelated, you'll be able to see that there are actual dots, and you may not think of them as dots, but you'll just know that something is wrong with the image that you're looking at. So this is specific for printing. So you also stated that when you did these originals, I'm sorry, when you did these prints, that they were blurry. And again, that's fine for an artist who's starting, who may be selling prints to their family and other folks that they're intimately connected with. But what we want to do is have the original painting or the drawing or the visual art because the original painting is going to be able to capture the best resolution. So if you're using duplication to try to capture a high resolution image, it's already compromised. So it's of the utmost importance to capture that high resolution image.
Thank you.
And okay.
No, go ahead. Go. No, no, I was saying thank you.
But and the way you want to do that, there's a couple ways that artists can do that. That is to hire a professional art photographer. I would only recommend a professional art photographer. They
Why?
are very rare.
Mm-hmm.
They're very rare, but they're going to capture the details. They're going to capture the richness in the colors. They're going to capture just the feeling of the piece of art. The other way that folks can do that is to have the original image scanned. All right. Now, with scanning, where you come into problems is sometimes the piece of art is already stretched, meaning that it's on the stretcher bars and it can't roll through a scanner, and there's not a scanner that big, right? So if you have a flexible piece of art that has not been stretched and that is, I would say, less than 40 inches is a good number to think about, that can roll through a scanner at a print shop that offers a scanner.
So now
So
let. Mm-hmm.
what I do with my customers and clients is I am partnered with a professional photographer. So I take it to him, give him the specifications. If it's a watercolor versus an oil painting, he knows exactly what to do with it. So that's why it's very important to have that professional arts photographer. Um, and then I get it back, and it's at the resolution or the dots per inch or the DPI that we would like to see.
Now, quick question, and this is for me and for other people, I would assume as well, because you mentioned that professional art photographers are rare, and I can definitely agree with you on that one. There are not many photographers who, if they do photography, they don't want to. Well, I won't even get into that. But my question is, will you accept images that were taken just shot with an iPhone?
Well, I mean, if that's what the client wants, but I would have definitely advise them of some of the cautions that you discussed at the beginning of the conversation. Um, I would say that it really just depends on their preference, but I don't advise artists to do that at all.
Okay, all right.
Now, if they're doing something like postcards, which is done through a commercial printer, or it's called gang printing. So you can't really guarantee that that's going to be super accurate anyway, and those are typically much smaller. So that might be good for a postcard that you want to hand out to people to give them a sample of your art. But for the serious artists, I would definitely caution against an image that was taken on the phone.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. So one last thing before we get into how we can connect with you, pricing, that kind of thing. Um, you mentioned briefly papers, which is huge,
Uh-huh.
kinds of papers.
Mhm.
So, like, my question for you with the piece that I know I want shot is: is there a difference between pricing with, uh, acid-free paper? First of all, what kind of papers do you offer? And then I know you said just regular paper and then canvas print, but is there a difference in pricing with regular paper, canvas paper, um, that kind of thing? But we could start with what kind of papers. What are the options for papers that artists have?
Oh, absolutely. I can speak to that. All of the paper is acid free. All of
Okay.
it, every paper that I use is high quality fine arts paper.
Okay.
Um, and some of my favorite papers are hot press bright. And the reason that I like hot press bright paper is because it pulls out the black and it pulls out the saturation in the painting. So if you have something as vibrant as your paintings, I would recommend hot press bright. Now, when we go super large, I'm going to take the same image with the same high quality resolution, and it's going to still be accurate. But now you want to use something like a canvas or an exhibition canvas. So again, that's hot press bright, and then there's canvas, which is also exhibition canvas, and then you have different layers of the canvas. So if you have something that lends itself to pop art, you might want to use a gloss or a semi-gloss. If you have something that's more dramatic or that you want to look more gallery-like or serious, you might want to use a matte. So that's an exhibition canvas gloss. There's an exhibition canvas semi-gloss, and there's an exhibition canvas matte.
Okay.
So with the canvas, um, say for instance, if an artist says, you know what, I want to try matte, and they say, well, that is a little bit flatter than I imagined. So now you would use a semi-gloss or a gloss coating. So with the matte, you can go up, right? You can go up to more glossy. With the semi-gloss, it's very difficult to go down. So it may be advantageous to artists to start off with a matte, right? So that's one paper, one canvas, which is three options on the canvas. And another paper that I like is Somerset Velvet. Now, say for instance, if you have an artist who does watercolors and the watercolor will typically lend itself to some texture, or you might have a piece that you want to see the texture in it, right? So you might want to choose something like Somerset Velvet. Those can go from small to large, right? So those are the three papers that I like. Exhibition Canvas, High Press Bright, Somerset Velvet, and that's for artists. I like to recommend to artists to use the fine art papers up to maybe a size 18 by 24. Once you go above 18 by 24, I would recommend going to a canvas because you typically would have it stretched
That was good
and then you
info.
would put it inside of, okay, yeah, and you would put it inside of a floating frame. You don't necessarily have to put it inside of a floating frame. You could leave it non-stretched and you could have it matted in a regular frame, right? You just want to make sure that you have some piping around it to keep the glass from touching the canvas.
Awesome.
So those are the three for fine artists. There's an additional paper that I recommend for photographers, and that is a plating paper. It's called a legacy plating.
Hmm.
Most of the papers that I use are Epson, and with some variations. So the plating, I mean, it's going to make the photography look so realistic. Like this is a highly, highly recommended paper for artists. Let me see. I might have one behind me, but you probably can't see it. So you see the Indian chief in the corner here. I don't know if you can see it. It would be your top left. Um, that would be on the plating paper. I should have had some of them down so that I could show them to you. Next time though. So now there's three papers that I recommend, two papers, one canvas, and then the legacy plating paper.
Cool.
Um, so that just gives you some information on that. And they all have a certain weight. I can't quote off the weights to you offhand because I don't remember them, but it's you can find all of this on my website, which is artspaceprints.com. And it's not a
Perfect.
space, it's
Space.
SPACE
And I'm gonna
prints.com.
type that so everybody can see that. Art space prints.com. And let me add that. I put it in the
Really
chat.
important for Okay. That's really important for us, Maisha, that the artists can get this information and make informed choices about their pieces. And I'm also available for questions that they might have as they come and consult on how to approach getting their fine art reproduced.
Yes. Let me ask you a quick question. Do you see that on the screen? Artspaceprints.com? Do you see it?
I don't.
Okay,
I
well,
can move my screen.
that's okay. I just typed
Uh,
it on so that it shows on the screen. If not, you can catch it in the chat. But okay, that's perfect. So that's the next thing I wanted to get into. How can so let's just say for me, I'm ready to go. I want some prints. I know you mentioned to me about a special you have going on right now. Y'all, it is July 9th, 2021. So don't call this brother next year talking about what happened to that special from last year. So I know he has a special going on right now. Can you tell us how do we get in touch to work with you? How do we get our art to you? How do we how do you prefer us to work with you and get in contact with you? So let's just even if we're talking
I
about
mean,
me, I'm ready to
absolutely.
go.
I mean, everything starts with a phone call. I would prefer a phone call. That way I could give you better information, right? You're more
Okay.
than welcome to email me and you can contact me through the website. But let's start with the phone number.
All
It's
right.
504-298-9578.
All right. And I just dropped that in the chat, y'all. All
All
right.
right. And the first thing would be some of the things that we talked about. We would discuss, how do we capture your image in a high resolution digital image. And again, we would just go through the same things that we talked about. We would move to editing the image to make sure it's as close to the original as possible. Some artists might want to change the image. Who knows? Maybe they want it to be more saturated. Maybe they want it to be less saturated. So whatever is their preference once we consult on that. The next thing is we would do a test print to make sure that it looks the way you want it to look, and it's something that you feel comfortable presenting to your collectors. You can also email me at info@artspaceprints.com, and that's ARTSPACEPRINTS.com. A lot of people take that space literally, but it's the word space. And again, the website, which is artspaceprints.com.
Okay, perfect. So this is our conversation, which I'm very grateful for. So I know that I'm probably going to go with high press bright for the smaller prints, and then definitely the canvas for anything over the 18 by 24s. So
Mhm.
can you tell me, do you want to talk about that special you're running now? You kind of want to leave that because that's a limited
Oh
time?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I may extend it, who knows? But right now it's until July the 16th.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that artists are ready for the many festivals that are coming out in the fall. We know that due to the pandemic, all of the festivals were shifted. We know that the French Quarter Fest is going to happen in the fall. Jazz Fest is going to happen in the fall. So this is just a way for artists to build up their stock so that when they go out to festivals or booths or generally just wanting to have enough prints available for their collectors, we're running this special because of that. The special is you get 12, I think it's, what is it? Let me just count it out and then you'll know how many you get. So
Okay.
you get eight, let's write this down because now we'll know what
Okay.
the number is. You get eight small prints. So that's like 8 by 12 or smaller. Then you get four medium sized prints. That's going to be, you know what? We're going to pull this up.
Let's do
Let's
it.
see. Let's pull it up. All right. We got it coming up here. So you're going to get four medium prints. That's about that's the details are here. Give me a second. All right. So the medium sized prints are going to be 11 by 17 or smaller, right? Typically on fine art paper, because that, of course that's what we recommend, right? For the smaller prints, doesn't make sense to do canvas because you're going to see too much of the canvas pattern there, which is better for larger prints. Next category, you're going to get two large size prints, which is 18 by 24. Now here you might want to choose paper or canvas, but it's your choice, really. Next, for the you'll get one large print, and that's 24 by 36 or smaller. So again, eight small, 8 by 10 or smaller, four medium, 11 by 17 or smaller, two large, 18 by 24 or smaller, and one very large, 24 by 36 or smaller. Now, this can be shifted around. You can do many different variations of your works. You don't have to do one one piece of artwork. You may want to choose two or three different artworks, and or you may want to trade off the four medium prints for eight more small prints. So now you'll be doing 16 small prints. You'll jump back up to the two large prints and the one very large print, right? So, we can shift it around, but generally the idea is you would get the 15 pieces, and that is for $250, whereas the value for that is $346, right? So the idea is that your estimated resale value is at around $1,000. So again, this fits right in with our business model. we are really charging you just for the printing, and it's your work, so you should benefit more greatly than anyone from your work. So, you know, it's priced in that manner that you're basically buying wholesale. Even if you buy one piece, you're really buying at a rate at which you can make you some money.
So, thank you. Quick question: do you print larger than a 24 by 36?
I print up to 44 inches on the smallest side. So, typically you would, the framing for something like that would be so big. So let's say a 40 by 60 can be done. We would just have to be creative with and discussing and consulting with you on how you would get it framed. You could get it stretched. So that means if it's 44 inches, we would have to leave some inches for the
Stretching.
stretcher bars,
Right.
right?
Okay.
But if it's a flat piece, God knows how you're going to frame that. But you can get a custom frame made so it can be up to 44 inches. And
And
it could
so
be
the
as long
24 by
as
36, do they come stretched or they just come the flat print?
everything comes flat.
Okay.
Now, I think I have some. Now this special, I can add mats and sleeves for all of them for just $100 more. So that makes it ready to sell. So if you have a booth and you have a your organizer and you want people to flip through, you would have the mats already on there, and they would be inside of the sleeves. Or you may have your own method for doing that, right? So that's really a good deal because that saves you from getting prepared. When you leave here, you're already prepared to just hit the booth,
Yeah, so
right?
you would put it in a mat in the sleeves?
Yes,
Y'all, that's a
that's
deal. I'm gonna
actually,
tell you right now. Y'all, that is a
yeah, we do
deal.
matting. So that's the thing. We don't do framing. We can't order framing for you, but we don't do the custom framing ourselves. But that's an extra step, and we can share that with individuals as well. But some customers, they might want the standard Michaels frames, right? So your piece may not be standard, right? So typically the mat will be even all the way around. But because I have a matting machine, I can be creative with the matting, right? 2.5 inches on one side and three at the top and bottom. To the eye, you're really not going to be able to see that half an inch difference. But when you go to like one of the national matters that will send it to you, you send them your specs, they send it back. They're not going to do variations in the sizes of the matting. So because we have that matting capability, we're able to offer that special.
Okay. Perfect. So one last thing, and I won't keep you. This is my last question.
Oh, I mean, it's fine. I'm enjoying it. It's okay.
Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. What was the question? um, what's your turnaround time?
Depends, if it's super busy, I mean, I could get it to you in a day. But for something like the 15 prints for 250, I would need 4 days. But this is something that you plan, right? So
Right,
you're not going to be, typically you won't be coming at the last minute.
right,
But I will reserve, like, say, for instance, if I have a project where two people now, like I have one order for this right now, right? But if I have two of them, right? And then another customer comes in and they say, well, you know what? I want a 24 by 36 of a file that you already have. I'll have that for you the same day or the next day.
right. Because if I bring the painting
And
to
then the
you,
shipping,
you got to get it photographed, um, and you'll take
well,
care
the
of that.
photograph,
Or does
let me
the
back
order,
up.
will
So
I take it over
I,
to the photographer and get it photographed?
I'll explain that to you, but let me back up. So notice when I said if I have the file and it's ready to go, right? So I keep all of the artist files. So if I have the file and it's ready to go, I can print it for you either that day or the next day, even if there's a busy workload, right? But that would be the start of the process. If I'm having an initial conversation with you. Then I need time based on the photographer. Typically, the photographer does it in one day. Then you and I need to look at it to make sure you like the way it looks digitally. Then we need to look at it to make sure you like the way it looks when the print comes out. So we need a little more time for that. But the turnaround is almost immediate once we get past that phase. That's an initial phase. But if we're working together and we have your files, then it's almost immediate for
Oh,
one or two prints,
very good.
and about 4 days for somebody that comes in and wants. We have their files already, but they want this package.
Good. Cool, cool, cool. All right. I think that makes this process very clear to me. Y'all, listen, I have been printing for a long time. This is a good deal.
One
It's
more
a
thing
sign.
that you mentioned, and I wanted to come back to. You just mentioned it. It was this last question. I thought it was a good question, but I don't remember what it was. We can't rewind, can we? It's okay. Do you think you might remember what it was? It was related to maybe I can't remember.
I know I said
I can't
something
remember.
about
We'll put it. We'll put it in the notes wherever you publish this because we'll
yes,
be able to see what we said. All
yes.
right,
I'll
let's do
definitely
that.
put it in the comments of the description below for
Okay.
sure. And I'll try to make sure I post this on different artists' blogs and sites so that if they have questions that come up, I can see them and then I'll redirect them back to you. Sorry, I'll redirect them back to you. That's all I really have for now. I think this was super informative. It's a huge question artists ask over and over and over again. It's something that we all need because while we have the one original, a piece of art may speak to multiple people. So thank you so much. I will definitely be in touch after this. I will. I asked you about the photographer. So will I need to bring it to the photographer myself or do I drop the piece off with you?
I would prefer that you drop the piece off with me and I bring it to the photographer, but you have the liberty to bring it to the photographer as well. Because
Okay.
he and I had a conversation yesterday with a print that I was concerned about a shade of, it was like a rust color. And actually, I have it here. Hold on. I'm bringing it up now. I have no idea what I did with it. Oh, here it is. All right. So, just to give you an example of why I would prefer to go to him, right? So, this artist, he has this landscape, and so this rust color here
Mm-hmm.
was more red than the
Can you move it
original,
over a little to
right?
the left?
That
Other
way,
way. Other way. Other
other
way.
way.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we can really see it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that rust color was more red than the original. So I was concerned about how we could interject in the process of me sitting there with him, looking at the digital file and making sure that the digital file was as accurate or as close to the original as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we finally got it. The artist and I finally got it, and it was more rust. This is one of the proofs. So this is still here with me. But and another thing I want to point out is so if he gets it stretched,
Yep.
he opted for this 2 inches of
Yep.
color here, right? So he was in a 16 by 20 category. This put him in the 18 by 24 category, but the price range is 18 by 24. So they would be the same price and he didn't have to pay anything extra. Otherwise, it would have been extra, right? So for that reason, I would prefer to go to the photographer, but you're more than welcome to go to him yourself. And important to note, when you go to him, you own that file, right? So it's your file.
Thank you for noting that. One last thing, when you give artists back those canvases unstretched, they then stretch them themselves on stretcher bars, or they get a framer to do it for them. Do you know how most artists get that done?
Well, a lot of times they opt for me to stretch them.
Okay.
This guy, he does his own stretching. So I do have a partner that does the stretching. The stretching is as tight as a drum. Now that's really important too, because some places you'll go, the stretching is not that tight. You want it to be super duper tight. You want a really good stretch.
So that's a
But you
different
know, that's of
service, right?
course an additional cost. That's an additional cost.
Okay. How
Yes.
much does
Yeah.
that
You're
cost?
really paying for the print.
Hmm.
For something like what you just saw, probably about 40, $45. The
Awesome.
photographer, I think he's expensive. He's $50. Everything goes to him. He's just my partner, right? So you see these extra things cost, but the print is probably comparable to both of those in price. So it just depends. And again, you don't have to stretch a canvas.
Right. 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 Right.
You would, but you don't have to.
Yeah, I saw an artist on Instagram. She was advertising some of her prints. She has a huge following, and she was sharing with them that, if you don't want to stretch it, you can just hang it on the wall and put lights around it. And I was like, that's a good idea. That's different. I never thought about that. And then it glows in your
Pop
room at
art.
night.
Well, I guess, yeah.
I,
I
I
never
would,
thought about that.
yeah, I would have never done. I never thought about it. I probably um, wouldn't have done it, but I do know that. Um, It works for some people. Let me
It
just say
depends on
that.
it depends on the piece, right?
Yes, it depends on the
That
piece.
piece would have to be really fun, right? It couldn't be serious.
Well,
It has to be
I
a really fun piece.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. To
art is
each his
so
own.
subject, right? To each his own. I was just about to say art and how we display it and how we feel about it and how we value it is,
Absolutely.
it's each his own. So, thank you
Absolutely.
so much, Derek. I really appreciate this. I was excited when I met you. I knew I wanted to get some prints done. And I do, just for those of you who don't know, I do take some photos on my phone if I'm making small prints or, whatever. I have some affirmation cards. All of that was shot on my phone. But to have it done with a fine art photographer and then printed professionally it's a game changer where you can put, that $500,000 price mark on a print because it is that crisp. It's that good.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
thank you. Is there anything else?
Ken, thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed this. This was cool. It was great meeting you too. But right, it just depends on the artist and how much their pieces are in demand, right? I
Yeah,
mean, you're paying like 40, 40 $65 for a 16 by 20, and it depends. I mean, you could sell it for $10,000 if your art is in that much demand,
it's
right?
true. True.
So yeah, it was great meeting you, great explaining the process to folks. You're welcome to come by and see me. I'm at 2111 Dumaine on the second floor. We have some art out in the hallway. We have two Mardi Gras Indians who live in the building, one of which we partnered with a local artist, the chief whose likeness is in the piece, and myself, the printer. So when we sell a piece, everybody makes money.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
so
That's beautiful.
we have a Mardi Gras Indian who's actually doing his Mardi Gras Indian suit, or yeah, Mardi Gras Indian. So I guess that's about it. He's a black Indian, but the suit is a Mardi Gras Indian suit, and he's getting ready for next Mardi Gras 2022. So if you stop by, you might see him. You're really not supposed to see the suit, but you might, because I mean he's out there working on it. So we have a lot of stuff going on over here. Again, that's 2111 Dumaine in the Treme in New Orleans.
And you have his number, y'all, 504-298-9578. His email is info@artspaceprints.com. And I have the website right here on the screen, artspaceprints.com. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate it. You guys, listen, if this video was helpful to you, please subscribe, like, share. Tell somebody about this video. Tell somebody about Derek, artspaceprints.com. And let's keep it moving, artists. Let's go.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.
Hold on, it's ending now.